Hey everyone, welcome back. So the New York State of Mind, that's actually an organization dedicated to serving low-income communities in hopes of impacting people's lives for positive change. And since 2010, the organization has partnered up with other organizations such as Bowery Mission, Baby Buggy, City Meals on Wheels, Housing Works, and St. Joseph's Soup Kitchen to serve the less fortunate. This month, they will be holding an upcoming school supply distribution event as we gear up to get back to school. And joining us to tell us more, we welcome NYSoM Executive Director and Co-Founder, Paul Dawkins. Hello and welcome.
Yes, hi, good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being with us and welcome. I would love to just give everyone a little insight as to who you are and what inspired you to to be the founder of this organization. I know your origins are that you work at CBS and you're financial, right? You do finances and accounting. And so it's very fascinating that you have chosen to pass it forward and pay it back to your community, right?
Yes. Well, personally for me, because I come from a low income background, so it would, you know, once I was able to progress to a certain point in my professional career, I decided to be a part of an initiative to give back to the community because I understand what it's like for people who are living in those circumstances and the lack of resources that people have, because that's how it was for me growing up. So just being inspired by seeing what different members of the community did and what their efforts brought, an effort of a single person or a couple of people brought to their community inspired me and a couple of my partners to come together and create this organization that we've been doing community projects through since 2010.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. It warms my heart, especially during this particular time, right? We need a lot of hope and we need to hold each other. And so thank you for sharing that. And the reason I wanted to introduce you as such is because while it's wonderful that we're going to discuss this event that you put together annually to supply, for those who need these additional resources to provide for their children, it's also, I think, important that everyone understand that we do operate as a community and what kind of work goes into being able to offer and provide such. So just share a little bit about, because I know you have an event that's coming up Uptown, you have another one that's going to be happening in Brooklyn, and obviously you're making it your business to make sure that you're providing as much as you possibly can before these children start school.
Okay. Thank you. So just a little bit of background on NYSoM. So as you mentioned in the introduction, since we've been in existence since 2010, we started out as a volunteer group, volunteering for the various organizations that you mentioned, Baby Buggy, Bowery Mission, Meals on Wheels. But since 2013, we've actually been producing one of our own community events, which are engagement activities that we put together ourselves to give back directly to the community, which directly impacts our mission. So one of the events that we've been doing since 2013 annually is our annual Back to School event, where at the very core, we get people to come to a venue and we distribute school supplies to the families who need it the most. So this year, obviously with the pandemic, we have to do things a lot differently than we have in the past. Usually we do a back to school event in Manhattan and in Brooklyn. So, and we usually put activities around the event. It's usually a 3 to 4 hour event where people can come up. So come out, it's not simply just coming to get school supplies. We have a number of activities for people to participate in throughout the day. So they come for the school supplies, stay for the fun. That's usually how we do it with all of our community events. Obviously, this year it's a lot different because of the pandemic. NYSoM was actually had to take a forced hiatus for the first half of the year through June 2020. we weren't doing anything because we couldn't do things the way we normally did them. But we finally got back up and running in July, and everything for the rest of 2020 for NYSoM will be distribution events. So that event will be a grab and go, RSVP beforehand so that we know that you're coming, and we make sure that you have a set of school supplies. A set of the RSVP is important because we want to make our past events have been first come, first serve, and we usually have enough school supplies to service the amount of people who just walk up to the event.
Right.
But we want to make sure, like, especially if you're coming out during this pandemic, during this time, that if you come to the event, you definitely get your school supplies. Plus, we don't want to have. Usually, this event has about 300 to 500 people there, or probably more. We don't want to have that many people in one space for everybody's safety. So please RSVP for the event, and we will have your RSVP will guarantee that if you come between the hours of 2 and 4, you will definitely get your school. You definitely get your school supplies.
So but the RSVP is definitely mandatory. People cannot just show up. And what are the school supplies that are being offered, and how are you able to provide them, and how many of them are you providing before we go?
Well, so we're able to provide them through our annual back to school drive, which will be ongoing through the end of September. If anybody watching would like to contribute, you can email us at info@nysomgroup.org, because as I said, we're doing 2 distribution events, the one in Manhattan this Saturday and the one in Brooklyn at the end of September. So yeah, we do our annual back to school drive. We've been doing this since June. We've been able to gather a number of supplies. Don't want to give the exact number, because we don't have the number. It will be somewhat less than, as I mentioned before, it's usually instead of 300 to 500, but we don't want 300 to 500 people to show up, because that's a health hazard. So it is somewhat less, but we will, if you RSVP and we get back to you and let you know that we have you signed up, you're definitely going to get a set of school supplies.
Okay, and so we're talking like school bags, pencils, sharpeners, all those items, the basics, right?
The basics, correct.
All right. Well, bueno, I just want to acknowledge you, Paul, because it just warms my heart. I love seeing us work together and figure it out for each other. And the fact that you've been able to forge through despite the circumstances and find a way to provide for our children, it's admirable. So thank you. And thank you for taking the time to come and share it with our viewers as well.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And hopefully, our mission is to serve the community and give back to those who need it. So hopefully everybody who comes out will, it'll take a little bit of the burden of this entire year off of them by getting, a set of school supplies that will help their children through the next school year.
Thank you. And you guys, once again, for NYSoM Back to School's annual school supply event, the distribution event that is, it's going to be happening on Saturday, August 29th from 2 to 4 p.m. at El Barrio Garden. And to participate in the event, remember, you have to RSVP, and that's at Eventbrite, NYSoM Back to School, Uptown 2020. All right, we have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll hear about a new book celebrating the brilliance of young Black boys. Don't go anywhere.